Hey, my name is Dana Severson. I'm on the growth team over at RightMessage.com, and I'm very excited to introduce you to RightAsk, which, in our opinion, is the biggest advancement in personalization marketing to date. In the next few minutes, I'd like to give you a tour of RightAsk and show you just how impactful this tool could be for boosting your conversions and increasing your sales. So, what is RightAsk? Well, to understand what it is, you first need to understand why it exists. RightMessage, the company behind RightAsk, is built on the principal idea that when you try to speak to everyone, you actually reach no one. Yet most marketing sites today say the same thing to everyone. I mean, it's no wonder why conversion rates are so low, right? So there is no doubt that when you're able to dynamically change your copy and calls to action to match the precise needs of your unique visitors, conversions increase and revenue goes up. In fact, we see it happen every single day with our customers at RightMessage. But understanding the needs of each visitor is tricky, especially if they're anonymous, right? You can passively understand your visitors based on which site they came from, which ad they clicked on, or what content they're reading. But wouldn't it be amazing if they told you what mattered to them most instead? Sure. I mean, there are tons of tools out there that allow you to survey visitors, to collect data. But what good is the data if you can't immediately use it to turn that visitor into a customer? We developed RightAsk to address that exact problem. RightAsk is a tool that allows you to unobtrusively gather data from visitors who are browsing through your website and immediately action their answers to personalize their experience with your website. Let me quickly walk you through how it works. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to feature Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income website. In full disclosure, Pat is not affiliated with us in any way, and he has not personally endorsed our product. But I've chosen his business because he's someone who is already actively collecting data from his subscribers to improve their experience with his products. The opportunity for Pat and all of you watching this video is to think beyond those that are on your list and begin to think of anyone and everyone that visits your website. Let me show you what I mean. So what you're looking at right here is the dashboard or the beginning stages of RightAsk. And so when you first get into this platform and this tool, you're asked to put together a series of questions, right? And so each question is attached to what is called a segment. And if I can just navigate quickly over to my email, you're going to see that one of the things that Pat Flynn asks when you first sign up for his list is, what is the primary way your business makes money? He also asks two other questions through a series of emails after you become a subscriber. Our proposal to Pat and all of you is, why just capture that information from subscribers? Why not capture it from people that are just visiting your site? So the way that this works is you can ask a series of questions that show up as a widget on your website, just like the one that you're seeing over here on the right-hand side. Each of the answers here is tied to what we call segments within RightMessage. Segments are ways that we define who a customer is or who a visitor is and their persona and the way in which they want to be communicated to. So in Pat's case, we have three questions that are listed here. First, do you have a podcast? The answers are yes, I have a podcast, and no, or no, I don't have a podcast. Based on which answer somebody clicks, this record is going to go into the segment within RightMessage, but it's also going to go back into the ESP that Pat is using. In this case, it's ConvertKit. We also integrate with tools like Drip, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot. So any of the answers that you get, whether they're anonymous or they're a subscriber or they're already a customer, is going to be stored some way, somehow. When somebody answers this question, Pat has the choice to either allow the widget to close at that point or to ask them the next question in the series. The next question is, what is the primary way your business makes money? And so in this case, these are the answers that Pat provided in the email that we received. So e-commerce, coaching, consulting, so on and so forth. And any one of these things can be clicked. And again, this is going to go directly into a segment created within RightMessage, or it's going to be put back into the ESP or CRM that you're integrated with. And then the last question that he asks is, which of the following best describes your online business activity? So in this particular question, what Pat's trying to arrive at is, what level of business acumen do you have? Do you not have a business yet? Are you stuck? Do you make less than $500 a month? Or are you making more than 500 and on your way to becoming a unicorn? So the really cool thing is that based on these answers, not only is it stored back in your CRM or ESP, but we're also making it immediately actionable, meaning that depending upon when somebody clicks, they can be put into that segment, and that segment can be used to personalize their experience in your website. I'll show you that in a minute, but let me first show you the rest of RightAsk as a tool. So you put the questions in here. You can add additional questions to this survey. The next thing within here is the styling options. As you'll see in a minute, the colors that I chose within this widget match Pat's branding on his site for Smart Passive Income. You can also change the positioning, so bottom left, bottom right. You can change the trigger settings, so you can have it show up immediately. You can have it show up after a certain percentage of scrolling or after 10 seconds of being on the site. And then finally, you move into settings. Within settings, you have control over whether you want to show it just on desktop or just on tablet or just on mobile or on all three. Next, within the frequency, you can specify exactly when this will show up and how often. So you can have it show up on every page until somebody actually answers it or closes it out, or you can have it just show up once per session. So just on the initial visit, if they choose not to answer the question or they close it out, they won't be shown it again until the next time they show up. The next option is with an answer behavior. And so within this, you can say, all right, let's just ask one question the first time. And then the next time they come back, let's ask them the second question. Or if they didn't answer the first question, we'll ask that first question again. The other option is to keep asking questions until there are no more questions to ask. So in Pat's case, we'd set up 3 questions. That means that they're going to be asked all 3 questions before they exit the widget. You can modify the thank you message. You can modify the explanation as to why you're asking this question. And then down below, you can also modify what pages this is seen on or what pages that you want to hide this on. So like I mentioned, one of the really cool features of RightAsk is that it can be used immediately. The data can be actionable, which means that it turns into personalizations that take place, which I'm about to show you with another tool that we launched on Product Hunt not too long ago called Right Bar. But before I go into that, I also will mention that RightAsk is also a very smart widget, meaning that if somebody is an anonymous visitor and you have no data on them whatsoever, if they answer a question on today's visit and they come back tomorrow and they're also still anonymous at that point, it's not going to ask them the same question over again. It knows enough to know that that anonymous visitor is now tagged and they've been put into a segment and they're now personalized based on that initial answer, and they're not going to be asked that question again. So if they didn't answer question two is now going to display on their screen. It's also smart enough not to display questions that you may already have stored in your database. So if you're using ConvertKit like Pat is, if you already have answers to these questions based on the emails that you sent out, or if they've already been tagged in a certain way, RightAsk isn't going to display these questions because it already knows that you have the answers to them. And so how do we make this information actionable? Well, if I'm going to navigate up to here, which is called Right Bar, and as I scroll over here, you're going to see that Right Bar is a welcome bar that appears at the top of the screen. And you can see that there's a lot of different Right Bars here. They're all set up for different segments that we've set up. One of the segments that we're going to show you here is somebody that is indicated to us that their main stream of revenue is through e-commerce and they make less than $500 per month. And so what we're going to display to them on Right Bar is it's time to get your e-commerce business generating more than $500 per month. And our call to action is going to be click here to see how. Now, if somebody is anonymous, meaning they didn't answer any questions, they're not on the database, they're not a customer, they're not a subscriber, we're going to have a very generic call to action, which is going to be join the community plus get free stuff, subscribe now. If somebody is a subscriber and they make more than $500 a month, you can see that you're seeing results. Now let's move the needle even further, get started, and so on and so forth. So you can see if we scroll on the list, these are all based upon unique segments. And the cool thing is those unique segments were dictated by the visitors on the site. They're the ones that answer the questions. And so now you know explicitly who they are and what sort of call to action you should be presenting to them. So this is RightBar. We can define these segments in a variety of different ways, but really what we're using right now is we're using RightAsk and the answers that they gave us to specify which segment they fall into and what RightBar is displayed. If you go over to the style widget, you can see that RightBar sits on top of the website. This is Pat Flynn's website, and it's matched to the branding. We have a color editor here. You can use the picker to just pick the colors that match your brand, and you can choose to hide the branding of RightBar or keep it displayed. So just really quickly before I end this video, I'm just going to go over to Pat Flynn's website. And what you're going to see right now is there's a bar up here up top, but you're also going to see on the right bottom right hand side is the RightBar or the RightAsk widget. And if I answer this question, yes, I have a podcast, it's gonna say thanks, and I can close that widget, and we are done with that experience. So I'm hoping that you guys can check out RightAsk. Take a look at it. One thing I didn't cover, and I'm happy to explore with you guys, is RightMessage as a platform is so much more than just RightAsk and RightBar. We also have a full platform that allows you to modify any and every element on your website, meaning headlines, images, call to actions, clicks, links, so on and so forth. So the same things that we were just doing with RightBar and the way that we were tailoring this call to action based upon how somebody answered questions, we can do throughout your site. So give it a go. Come check out rightmessage.com/tools/RightAsk, or just go down to the bottom footer and you will find the link to RightAsk. Thanks for checking it out. Talk to you soon.